Ah, summer. The energy, the messes, the endless snacks, and the screen time struggle is totally real. But what if screen time could actually build their faith and their minds? Living Scriptures Plus is a safe, faith-based streaming app with a full homeschool section, packed with educational shows that help kids grow in knowledge and testimony. Plus, your subscription helps bring the Line Upon Line series to life. So click the link below to sign up today. And this summer, stream with purpose with Living Scriptures Plus. Now enjoy this week's episode.
In a period of 2 weeks, Joseph receives 8 revelations that are completely out of chronological order in the Doctrine and Covenants. In order of the date received, we start in section 66, received on October 29th. We ease back to 65, hop to 68, then rocket backwards to the preface in section 1, jet forward to 67, before suddenly blasting all the way forward to 133, or the appendix of the book, whip cracking back to 69, and finally ending up in section 70, received on November 12th. Whew, exhausting. This is going to be fun. In November 1831, Joseph, Emma, and their adopted twins moved from Kirtland to the John Johnson farm in Hiram, Ohio. Now, John was a wealthy farmer who, along with his wife Elsa, had a beautiful home. They were about the same age as Joseph's parents, so even though they had 9 children, most of them were already married and living on their own. So, their large home had plenty of room for Joseph's family and for working with Sidney Rigdon on the inspired translation of the Bible. They even built a bowery in the front yard so the prophet could preach from the front porch. The Elsa and John Johnson family was converted after the prophet miraculously healed Elsa's arm. And in section 68, the Johnson sons Luke and Lyman are called to serve a mission. Luke with his brother-in-law Orson Hyde, and Lyman with William McClellan. They're commanded to go into all the world and preach to every creature. How would you like that to be your mission call? Well, maybe not those creatures. They were very faithful missionaries, and a few years later, in 1835, all 4 were called to be original members of the Quorum of the 12, with 23-year-old Lyman ordained as the very first apostle in this dispensation. Now, in the Johnson home, Joseph received a total of 17 revelations and held several important conferences. Since many members wanted to read and study all of Joseph's important revelations from the Lord, during one of these conferences, they debated whether or not they should be published. Some argued that the revelations shouldn't be published because many were sensitive or potentially embarrassing, while others might cause too much Zion fever.
We've got Zion fever! We've got Zion fever!
Hey! And the Missouri locals might not like that idea. And frankly, some folks were really embarrassed that the revelations came through Joseph, who had plain farmer grammar. Whoa! In section 67, the Lord issued a challenge. Appoint the most wise among you, and see if he shall make a revelation that is like unto these. Well, several thought William McClellan was the wisest in the room, so he accepted the Lord's challenge.
William! William! William!
Don't forget the these and thous! Once written, the others eagerly read William's manuscript. And, wow, it's clear that something is missing. Sure, it's filled with fragrant, flowery language, but it didn't have the divine spirit of the Lord. It's clear it's of man and not of God. The Lord then addressed the fears of those who worried about the content of the revelations, saying that the revelations were given to his servants in their weakness, after the manner of their language. Humbled, all of the elders declare their willingness to testify to the world that the revelations are from the Lord and should be published. To learn more of that exciting story, watch the video for section 1, where 3 elders try to write the preface of the book before turning to the Lord for much-needed help. Now, racing forward to section 69, Oliver Cowdery and John Whitmer, who are called to be stewards of the Revelations and Commandments, are directed to carry the manuscript and the cash for printing the books hundreds of miles to Missouri, where W. W. Phelps runs the church printing press. Interestingly, if you remember, Oliver was the first scribe and historian until he left on a mission. Then John was given that calling. Unfortunately, John was a less than ideal church historian. He didn't write very much, and when he did, he kept messing up recording the proper dates, which is one of the reasons we're jumping forward and backward all over right now. On this trip to independence, the Lord counsels John to receive more training from Oliver, which certainly must have led to some very interesting conversations as they traveled for 2 months through the cold and snow together. It may have gone something like, "John, why don't you write more like I did?" "Oliver, I just keep forgetting. You know I'm not good at remembering dates. And my hands are so cold." Jumping back to section 68, the Lord gives parents a commandment to teach their children truth. So, to make this more fun, consider this parable. Maybe it sounds familiar. Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs. Each of their parents taught and prepared them for the world. However, the parents of the first 2 little pigs hadn't taught them about faith, repentance, or baptism. But the third little pig's parents taught her about the gospel, how to pray, and how to make and keep covenants with God. Well, after each of the pigs settled into their lives, the big bad Satan, or wolf, came with his huffing and puffing and blew down the first little pig's house, and then blew down the second little pig's house. The pigs and their chinny chin chins ran away while the wolf just laughed. Their houses fell pretty easily because they weren't grounded in truth. Now, when the wolf came to the third little pig's house, he huffed and he puffed. And he sent hail and whirlwinds for years. And while it shook and shuddered a little, it didn't blow away. Why? Because her parents helped her build her home on a firm, unshakable foundation. Next time, we'll learn about 2 of the most amazing early saints.
It takes a lot to make these videos, so to keep line upon line free for everyone, consider signing up for Living Scriptures Plus. Check it out by clicking the link in the description below. And thanks for watching. This episode is packed with info, so you might want to watch it again to make sure you didn't miss anything, including the hilarious jokes. If you feel this video has helped you on your path towards truth and Christian discipleship, please subscribe and share. And most importantly, go read the scriptures for yourself.